Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Rangers Reviews post-match briefing after Rangers, or post-match Q&A. I see I've got morning briefing up there, and my esteemed colleague Derek Clark always tells me off for doing that, so I'll take it away. Post-match Q&A: Rangers 4, Ross County 0 in the Scottish Premiership. Rangers continuing the feel-goods after reaching the Champions League in midweek with probably, I think, definitely their best domestic showing of the season to date. With the ball, they were inventive, lots of quick interchanges in the middle. The tempo was impressive, and that made it hard for Ross County to really keep them at bay, so to speak. There was some contentious moments. For me, James Sands should have been shown a red card for hauling down his man as he ran through on goal. Which both managers have just spoken about in the post-match press conference. But with the ball, Rangers I thought were really impressive. Antonio Cholak with two. The first in particular, I mean, a fantastic finish. He's just bringing so much to this team up the top end of the pitch. Ryan Kemp was really good for me as well, and Scott Wright. Rangers played with two attacking midfielders, Tillman and Lawrence, who provided nice attacking balance and ensured that they had enough attacking players, enough goal threats high up the pitch. So all in all, I think a really positive afternoon for Rangers at Ibrox. I'm going to read you some of the quotes from the manager post-match. He said on Cholak, he's happy with him. He's in a good moment. The start for us has been fantastic. We just need to keep pushing him, and he keeps giving the performances we want. The manager also said he will speak to Morelos tomorrow. Morelos has worked hard this week, so I'll sit down with him tomorrow and talk about his future. He's still our player, and he knows what he has to do to become available for matches again. But the reaction he has shown in the first week has been very positive. Tom Lawrence is not injured. Gio said didn't look serious after he went down late in the game. On the team selection, Van Bronckhorst looked ahead to Tuesday. Obviously, there's the Old Firm, small matter of an Old Firm game next week. So I think a lot of the players today, this will be the last time they play before that game next weekend. Some more rotation perhaps on Tuesday night. But overall, the manager very happy with the tempo that his team started with. He said, when you start games like this, you will never really drop your level. We reached a really high level today and got the goals that we scored were of a very high level. So all in all, a positive day for Rangers. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. As I say, 2 goals for Antonio Cholak. That was kind of the standout, top line from today. John Lundstrom scored a goal with the benefit of a deflection after Rangers had played through the press, and they added a fourth late on through Stephen Davis. But I think undeniably for me, that's Rangers' best performance of the season. They had so much rotation and movement to pull Ross County out of place. I think their expected goals was at about 3. They had a lot of shots. They got Kent into dangerous positions constantly, and for me, he made a lot of good decisions. Obviously, got an assist after coming inside the pitch as well, and Tillman and Lawrence just provided so much attacking threat in the midfield areas, which is very important in a home game. So I think a real template for how Rangers can approach these games at Ibrox in the league going forward, and hopefully a sign of things to come. John says, good game today, plenty of good football from Rangers. Yeah, there was a lot of entertainment. There wasn't really even a lull today, I would say. So at some points in the second half, I think that's much more like it from Rangers, what you want to see in the first half, and it hasn't been the case enough. James Tavernier also hit the crossbar in the opening few league games. I think at points you've lacked that intensity and tempo within the opening 10 minutes, but it was certainly on show today. Richard says, hi Josh, agree that Sands is pretty lucky to not be sent off for that second challenge. I mean, I think the way it originated was Rangers centre-back stepped out a lot because Ross County just kind of left them untracked, and one of the benefits from that was that Rangers were able to play through the pitch with ease at points, find their wingers quite easily, but equally it meant that at points they were left 1v1 at the back, and I don't think Sands' strongest aspect of his game is probably last man defending, and on a couple of occasions you saw that, and I think as Richard says, very fortunate today. Derek says, surprised Yilmaz never got minutes after Borna taking a hit. Yeah, I think if you read between the lines with what the manager's saying, Derek, Yilmaz will very much be in the team on Tuesday night. Will be good to see a bit of him, hopefully, but equally Borna Barisic had a couple of stray passes today, but overall I think he's recovered well after a bad performance in Belgium a few weeks ago, and he just plays that role. He understands Kent. He knows when to make those timed overlaps. Sometimes he doesn't get found necessarily, but they are, they're opening up. the passing, or sorry, the avenues for Kent to run down and attack into. So I thought he was pretty good. Donald says a mature performance from Scott Wright. Yeah, it was Scott Wright's best performance in a Rangers top for a long time for me, Donald. I agree with you. He had the end product, of course, which was the big thing, getting one assist. I think it was one. It might have been two, maybe, passes just before the assist. He was involved a lot, had end product, always offering that pass through the middle of the pitch. So he'll be very happy with his afternoon's work as well. Stuart says, great result today. All we need to do is keep winning. Hopefully, Stuart, if only it was as easy as that. Richard said third and fourth goals were really excellent. Yeah, I think a lot of really good goals for me. Probably the third is the pick out. If you're going on finish, Cholak's first goal, was it his first goal? Yeah, Cholak's first goal, Rangers second, the day where he swivels and manages to find the far corner is just fantastic. The cutback is becoming quite a trademark from him. He's obviously done it a few times. He did it in Europe. His penalty box movement, he had a couple of chances in front of the Broomland, just to my left here in the second half. One flick with his back heel, it was close as well. So I think that's 7 goals now. Make it for Rangers. Is it maybe more than that? Let me know in the comments. I can't remember. Too much going on in my head this week. It's been a busy one. But he was very good, and Bill agrees. Scott Wright, outstanding. Yeah, complete credit to Scott Wright, because he's had a lot of criticism at points, and sometimes justifiably so. But I thought his end product was there today. Always offered that avenue to play through the pitch and turn so quickly on the ball. And has repaid his manager's trust in that respect. Scott says Rangers looked very slick. Tillman, it looks like he's going to be worth a fortune in the years ahead. Hope we can sign him. Yeah, he does look like that, Scott, doesn't he? I mean, you forget that this is only Malik Tillman's something like his 8th or 9th professional start. And when you take that into consideration, think how good he's going to be after a little bit more exposure at this level and just ability to show what he can do. The first goal all comes from Rangers not overplaying at the back, but taking a little bit of a risk. John McLaughlin going past the player, plays in the ball into Tillman, who turns his man just superbly, Glenn Kamara-esque. And Glenn Kamara should say just took a wee knock in midweek, which is why I wasn't in the squad. But nothing serious according to the manager in that regard. But Tillman, I just think both him and Lawrence probably unfortunate not to score on another day. They could well have. That's the type of midfield you want from me at home in a Scottish Premiership game. Real attack and balance, but also can come and get the ball deeper in the pitch. I thought they both enjoyed really good afternoons. Lawrence in particular, I think in the second half was arguably Rangers' standout player, and so unfortunate to not score. Releases the ball at the right times. He takes a lot of shots. Now, my presumption of him was that he'd maybe not be the best decision maker because of that. But certainly so far, I think you can see he's got a lot more to his game maybe than people first gave him credit to. Steely FM says Rangers played amazing today. Glad we're starting to score more goals in games rather than the odds goal like in previous seasons. Good thing in a season when goal difference could be a factor. Yeah, and Scott Arfield should have made it 5, absolutely. And when he went through on goal, decided to try and lob the keeper a bit nonchalantly, but I think he's earned that. Could have been 5, but that's what Rangers have done in every home game. I think it was 4 substitutes today. It was 4 against St Johnstone, 5 against Kilmarnock, or vice versa. Scott Arfield coming off the bench to kind of keep the energy high. Rabi Matondo coming on from the left wing. I think you can still see that he's still adapting to his new team and his new surroundings. But yeah, that's an important factor, because you want to play for the whole 90 minutes. You want to keep the tempo high, and if you can have 5 substitutes, you can refresh half the outfield, so that's an important factor. Away from the pitch today, Rob says, do you think there'll be any transfer movement in or out this week with the window closing on Thursday? Yeah, I forgot it actually comes around so soon, Rob, because it feels like the window's been open forever, and you forget that it actually closes. Do you think there'll be any transfer movement in or out? It's difficult to know, isn't it? Because if you go off what Van Bronckhorst said to Sky Sports last week, the week before, when he said the end of the window can be crazy, that seems to suggest something might happen. There's probably still some players in the squad that you look at, Nico Katic or Kelly, who you'd imagine would probably leave Ibrox before the end of the window. Rangers obviously have the benefit of Champions League money now. I think there's still an area to improve the pitch, and if Rabi Matondo's not going to be that right wing option, and he's a signing that's not quite hit the ground running, that's not at all criticism, because you look at so many examples of players that just need a bit of time. John Lundstrom, James Sands, 2 on the pitch today, who have really proved themselves at different points in the last year. James Sands over in Eindhoven, obviously in midweek. Matondo will need a little bit of time, but there's an argument maybe he looks a bit more comfortable off the left. If you look at where Kent made his assist from today in the centre, I think you could see him at times maybe play there to accommodate Matondo in the team as well. I would maybe like a left-footed right-sided attacker just to provide that balance. Do you think there'll be any transfer movement? It's hard to know, but we'll be all over it this week, so I'm sure it's going to be another busy week in the world of Rangers. Some more Tillman love here saying he needs to be signed now. Yeah, I'm sure if that was an option, that would be taken up, but Rangers obviously have an exclusive right to buy. I think as an earlier comment said, Tillman will go for a lot of money at some point in his career. He just seems to have everything. He's got pace, so much game intelligence, the speed with which he does is, if he takes the ball in under pressure, perfect example being the first goal. He just seems to have such a capacity to do that. So he looks to be such a smart move by Ross Wilson. I think full credit to him and the recruitment team for getting that one through. Chris says, to be fair, I thought Sands' first yellow was soft. I think that's a fair comment, Chris. The argument, I guess, in response would be that maybe Sands, I think he would have been the last man. So is that the denial of a goal scoring opportunity if he goes through? Malky Mackay certainly thought so. One of these decisions, but I thought he was very fortunate to be on the pitch. It was one of those moments where you're kind of watching the referee and seeing is he gonna go either way. But Rangers, as Van Bronckhorst said, I think they were lucky in that regard. Stuart says routine victory, but building momentum domestically and finally putting these teams to the sword. Yeah, that's what needs to be done, Stuart, in these types of games. You need to play with tempo, you need to create chances and not start slow, because particularly against Kilmarnock, I thought when you're reaching the 56-minute mark and Rangers haven't created that much, you can get yourself into precarious situations. But it was routine once Rangers kind of raised their level today. And I thought they started well and had a lot to call on from the bench. Jim says, thought Lawrence was good, goes about his business quietly. Yeah, I agree with you. I thought it was Jim, it's JM. I agree with you. I thought Lawrence had a very good afternoon, one of the better players for me. Roy says all 4 goals today were fantastic. Paul says great performance from Rangers today. Lots of positivity in the comments today. Did Gio say anything about Borna Barisic with the knock? There was no mention of that, Aldo, but I didn't even notice it, to be honest. I was typing away at the end of the game. I'm sure he'll be absolutely fine. And as I say, I'd imagine that Yilmaz will be the one that plays in midweek anyway, with Queen of the South coming here to Ibrox on Tuesday. Just a couple more comments before we call it a day. James says, what's happening with Davies? The manager said, I believe, in midweek. I'm just trying to remember, James, because there's been so many press conferences. Maybe before it was before the PSV game, that would be some weeks. And then he hoped he could rejoin training in the next weeks. So that's quite unspecific, probably not putting a timeline on it, but we'll keep you up to date on that, maybe get an update this week. And just finally from Scott Walker, with the low block SPFL teams play, we definitely need players to shoot from distance. Last season, we tried too many passes. There's been a lot of shots from distance from Rangers in the league so far this season. Lots of teams will come here and they'll try and defend, but they'll do it in different ways. For example, today Ross County just allowed Rangers. You think how high Connor Goldson played. They allowed Rangers centre backs to come and progress the ball, and that offers a different threat to when a team's going to be really compact and show you around the side at points. And what Van Bronckhorst, I think, did well today was adapt to that. He probably knew that was maybe a tactics County were going to. Against St Johnstone a couple of weeks ago, he had John Lundstrom playing really high up the pitch to try and create a 3v2 in the middle. This is what he does, I think, as a manager, is try and adapt game to game. And obviously the merit of that will be determined over the course of the season, but certainly more encouragement to be drawn today for Rangers from that domestic performance. Seems to be heading in the right direction, and a lot of positivity after the Champions League progression. So we'll be back on Monday. It's obviously a Saturday 3 o'clock, not a Sunday game, which is going to be the case a lot this season with Champions League football on a Tuesday and a Wednesday. But we'll have lots of analysis on the website tomorrow. Remember to subscribe to the Rangers Review, just £2 for 2 months. Lots of you taking us up on that offer. So thank you very much. We've got absolutely everything you want over there in terms of Rangers coverage. So do go over and check that out for just £2. I was going to say less than a pint, but it's even less than a half pint in some places at the moment with the cost of living. So there you go. Until then, enjoy the rest of your Saturday night.